This summer, I've been rediscovering my love for the Wings of Fire series. Part of this includes both making videos on this channel, as well as exploring discussions surrounding the series on Reddit and Discord. If there's one common thing I see amongst all of these discussions, it's that people really don't like the focus that humans have in the series. While some people don't mind or even enjoy the role that humans play, they are few and far between. The majority of people who dislike humans all have a pretty similar line of reasoning. I didn't get into a book series about dragons to read about humans. Many feel that the role of humans in the series has become too prominent and are worried that the series will evolve into something unrecognizable as a result. To fully understand this issue, let's take a quick look at the roles humans play in each arc. In the first arc, despite being treated like prey by a majority of the dragons in the story, humans are established to be responsible for the death of Queen Oasis, and thus the entire narrative of the first arc. Legends Dragonslayer also does a lot in terms of emphasizing their role in this arc, but the book carries the same divisiveness that humans themselves have. If you don't mind or like their place in the series, then you probably enjoy Dragonslayer. If not, well, you probably didn't. In terms of the narrative itself, Ivy, Leaf, and Rose all play pretty important roles. Without Rose digging up the Eye of Onyx, Blister would have killed Blaze and taken the crown, and who knows what would have happened at that point. Ivy and Leaf also play an important role in delivering to Sunny the Dream Visitor that she holds onto for the rest of the series, and is used many times throughout. All three of those humans show in Book 5 that there's definitely more to them than meets the eye. Coming off of Book 5, humans play a much more subdued role in the second arc. They are almost completely limited to being one of Winter's weird quirks, and don't contribute to the story in any meaningful way. The only really interesting thing that occurs is that the indestructible city is brought up for the first time, when Winter saves Kibble from one of their ballista bolts. This doesn't end up mattering as of yet. The role humans play in Arc 3 is also pretty non-existent for the first 3 books. The only things really established are that there are humans living on Pantala, and that they aren't really well known to the dragons living there, given that Cricket had never seen or heard of one before. The Dangerous Gift and the Flames of Hope are really where things start to take a turn. Humans received a lot of growth in the first arc of the series, and then it sort of stagnated until we hit this point. Wren being introduced in The Dangerous Gift, and then the reveal that humans can learn to speak to dragons, and vice versa, is the single biggest point of growth for humans in the entire series. The Flames of Hope also provides the actual story of the Scorching, and introduces even more humans. Wren serves as a vital translator for the stealth team when they try to communicate with the Pantalan humans, and Cottonmouth, a human and instigator of the Scorching, also serves as the big bad of the final book, through his connection to the Other Mind. So looking at the timeline of events here, it's pretty obvious where a lot of the headache from humans comes from. They played a fairly important role in the conclusion of the first arc, which people don't really seem to have a problem with. The development then stagnated, and they played incredibly minor roles in the next 8 books, mostly serving as tools of development for the main characters. Then, near the end of The Dangerous Gift and through the entirety of The Flames of Hope, they are suddenly drugged back into the spotlight and given roles even more important than in The Brightest Night. The main issue this stems from is from the existence of Wren. Her introduction into the mainline series in The Dangerous Gift is where I think the humans placed in the series really started to be disliked. This is because it creates a completely different relationship between the humans and dragons than has been present through the entire series thus far, which then led into the major roles they played in The Flames of Hope. The question is, did Wren completely changing the relationship between humans and dragons need to result in humans playing a larger role in the series? From what I saw reading discussions on Reddit and Discord, Wren as a character doesn't have the same sort of hate attached to her, at least not nearly to the same extent as humans in general. She herself, and the ability that she has to speak to dragons, isn't where people have issues, it's the large role that humans play. So is it possible for humans to have less important roles given Wren's existence and the shift that her introduction brings? Here's what I think. Not really. Humans continuing to play the same role they did in the previous arcs after this reveal would be extremely weird, and it makes more sense for them to play more important roles given how the relationship between them and dragons has shifted. The role that they do play in The Flames of Hope, while larger than ever, is still nowhere close to the prominence that dragons play. As a result of this, I believe that the preliminary statement, "I didn't get into a book series about dragons to read about humans," is flawed, because very little of The Flames of Hope is just about humans. I can't understand why the big bad of the arc being a human would be a little bit disappointing, and I agree with the sentiment that having Wasp or Hawthorne stay as the primary antagonist would definitely have been more fulfilling. The Flames of Hope had its issues, but pointing the finger at humans and presenting them as the reason why it wasn't good is short-sighted. Humans and their development getting shafted is a failure of the books leading up to The Flames of Hope. The concept of humans having important roles shouldn't be dismissed as a result of it. I also don't see humans becoming more prominent in the main series than they did in the Flames of Hope, and I don't really think that they should. Part of the reason why the Legends and Winglet spin-offs are so good in my eyes are as a result of the alternate perspectives they provide on mainline events. Trying to make what should be an alternate perspective a primary one wouldn't work well. I do have faith that, especially with the gap between it and Flames of Hope, that the Hybrid Prince will be a banger, and that Tui will incorporate humans into the story in a satisfying way. That will do it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing and maybe checking out some of my reviews of the books in the Wings of Fire series. I hope to see you there. Until then, have a good one.